Holocaust, and that's what we call the middle passes. The first part we talked about was the Death March. That was the first part of the African Holocaust. The second part is what they call the middle passes. That's when we were loaded on ships, herded like cattle, and we died on those ships in great numbers. The mortality rate from the middle passes for Africans was over 60 per thousand per month. At the same time Africans was shipped on these ships, European criminals, murderers, rapists, and other ancestors of the caller who just finished calling, was also herded on ships. They were sent to prison colonies, Georgia, Maryland, Australia. What do you think their death rate was? Ours was 60 per month. What do you think their death rate for prisoners? Was 2 per month. So in other words, they know how to treat people humanely. These people, criminals, were given adequate space, adequate food, was allowed fresh air, was allowed clean drinking water, the things that our ancestors never got. And of course we owe, and we're not going to stop until we receive them. Let's look at some more images from the middle package.
Here we have, right here.
There's a clip.
Perfect example of what our people went through.
The middle passes.
Yeah, yeah. Throwing us overboard.
The living, the dead,
there's a picture. They said that the sharks still run that route. 100 years later, they were fed so well that the sharks still travel those same routes today. Yeah. But you know, Bob, I would like to go back and address the previous caller on the issue that we clearly understand, and that's our whole argument about, how we understand that these white people just can't seem to be spiritual. Any African person would understand that an injustice was done, and it is incumbent upon them to make it right. See, we understand the concept of ma'at. What goes around comes around. See, we understand this process, but most of them will deny and scrape and scrap to try to get out of it and say they had nothing to do with it, but they were the beneficiaries, okay? And they must come to grips with this. Even this mythological Bible that they say they believe in tells them that the sins of the father will be passed on to 7 generations, and they just don't want to deal with it. So that's why we can't spend any time trying to appeal to the morality or to their spiritual side, because we see it just ain't happening.
I like to show this picture. This is a picture of a hole, the belly of a slave ship. This is how our ancestor was packed in there, where you didn't have room to turn. You were chained together. You couldn't go to the bathroom. If you had to urinate or defecate, you had to lie in it. If someone got sick and threw up, you lied in that too. They say the slave trade was a filthy voyage. You say they could smell a slave ship from 5 miles away. They say a man has more room in his coffin than you had in the belly of these slave ships. If someone got sick, you all got sick. And that's why we died. Okay. I'd like to say something in terms of reparations. Everybody say they believe in the Bible. But they say if the Hebrew children had been enslaved in Egypt, when they left, they received reparations. It said the Egyptians gave them great wealth, and they came out with great substance. Before they took African slaves, enslaved Africans, and brought them over here to the Americans, they brought their own people, indentured people. They served for a period of, say, 7 years, and when they was released, they were paid. They had what they call free money, freedom funds. You were given tubes, you were given money for your crops. When Africans were released from slavery, we received nothing to this day.
Okay. Well, I see we're running out of time. Callers, don't hang up. We're going to be in the studio, and we'd be more than happy to take your calls and try and answer any questions you may have. Be sure and join us for part 2 of the Maafa, Genocide on the African People, on August the 20th at 10 o'clock p.m. Also, be sure and join next week on Channel 5. Be sure and join us next week, The Naked Truth, and we'll be dealing with the issue of reparations, and should blacks held captive in America be subject to taxation without reparations. And these are some of the critical issues that black people are faced with here in the year 2000. So, Dr.Fred, we're going to go back to the phone lines, and callers, don't hang up. We'll be here. Caller? Caller?
Yeah.
Question or comment?
Yeah, I just want to know, it just seems like y'all not appreciating being here in America right now.
Well, we not. You know, we second-class citizens. We get harassed. We get stopped driving while black. We getting lynched.
I'll tell you one thing right now. I mean, I'm European descent, but I'm glad that I'm here instead of being back in Europe.
Yeah, but you're benefiting from all of your ancestors that came before you, and here we are catching hell because we've been deprived. We've been deprived of our reparations.
Hey, what are your cousins doing in Africa right now? Let me ask you that much right now.
They're struggling against white oppression. That's what they're doing. They're trying to get their liberation.
The same thing they've been doing for hundreds of years.
No. They've been doing the same thing since the white man got there. But before that time, we have documents, historical documents from white scholars that say these people live in harmony with nature and with the universe until the arrival of the Europeans.
You want to go back to that kind of life that they're talking about right there?
Absolutely. If the white man would leave, we'd be happy to go because we knew we could make it.
And when I go back, I want all the diamonds, all the ivory, all the gold that you've taken out of Africa. I want it returned. Then I have something to go back to.
Do your cousins even know what the ivory and gold and all that's worth?
Today, trillions of dollars.
Right.
So make your point, bro.
That's what it's worth, but maybe it wouldn't be that much worth that much in the spiritual society you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, what's your question? Huh? Make your point.
No. My question is. Look, all I'm saying is I don't understand why you're not grateful for living in this great country we live in right now. You understand?
Oh, man, look. Hey, bro. I want my reparations. I want to be compensated.
Hey, you know how many of my ancestors have been slaves?
How many?
You don't know?
No.
I don't know either.
Well, but I know how many of mine been enslaved.
You're going back so far that you can't touch them. You can't touch any of your ancestors that have been slaves either.
Why not? I'm a slave.
Can you touch them? Have you ever touched them in your life? No.
Hey, I'm a slave. I'm a slave descendant. I'm not a citizen. I don't have human rights. I got civil rights. Mm-hmm. Okay? I'm not a citizen of the United States of America. I'm a citizen of the United States. That's a legal phrase, some legislation, you see? I don't have any of the rights you have, and you want me to be happy with some granted civil rights.
You have the exact same rights.
No, I don't.
You got more.
No, I don't. Have you read the law? You ever read the law? You ever read the 14th Amendment, the 13th Amendment?
Read the law, that would require me to read like so many binders of crap that I don't feel to sift through, but I mean...
But see, I've read it.
Specific thing.
You see? But we've read it. We've studied these documents trying to get a grip on what is our real status. So we studied these...
This is the same as everybody else, and it's 10 times better than I guarantee you your 20th cousin or whatever that's living in Nigeria. So what the hell is it? What are you griping about?
I'm griping about I want my first-class citizenship. I want reparations for working my...
First-class citizenship here in the best effing country in the damn